To celebrate my husband's birthday, I cut my business trip to San Francisco short by a day and rushed back to our home in Beverly Hills. I sneaked into the bedroom closet, clutching the birthday cake I'd baked myself, ready to surprise him. But the surprise turned into a nightmare. I never imagined he'd be in bed with my sister. Watching the two of them tangled up on the bed, I stared in stunned disbelief, my eyes wide with shock. I'd never thought my husband would hook up with my own sister. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Today is my husband Dylan Gu's birthday. To celebrate, I'd wrapped up my work in San Francisco a day early and hurried home. I held the homemade birthday cake and slipped into the bedroom closet, eager to catch him off guard. It wasn't long before I heard movement in the living room. I waited eagerly, ready to jump out the moment Dylan pushed open the bedroom door, only to see two people kissing passionately burst through, collapsing onto the bed together. I was so shocked that by the time I reacted, they'd already stripped down and started doing something unspeakable. The sight made me nauseous, almost making me vomit. Fighting back the anger and heartache of betrayal, I quietly slipped out of the closet while they were lost in each other. I went to the kitchen, filled a large basin with hot water, and tossed the cake in, mashing it into a pulp. Then I pushed open the bedroom door with a stone-cold expression. Before Dylan and Mia could react, I dumped the basin of water and cake sludge all over them. What the hell? It's boiling. Dylan and Mia screamed in unison, their faces twisting with shock and disgust. They just pulled apart when they saw me standing by the bed. Lila. Dylan spoke first, realizing he'd been caught. He frowned in annoyance, no trace of regret, not even an attempt to explain. Mia, however, looked smug after the initial surprise, her tone arrogant. Sister, since you saw it, I might as well tell you, Dylan never liked you. The person he loves is me. My suppressed anger exploded at her words. I slapped her hard across the face, sneering, "You're shameless, just like your mother, both lowlifes who steal other people's things. You're nothing but a homewrecker." Mia's eyes widened as she held her cheek, glaring at me. "How dare you hit me?" Seeing Mia get slapped, Dylan didn't care about the gross mess on their bodies. He hurried to hug her protectively, looking at me angrily. "Lila, I'm the one who wronged you, not Mia. If you want to settle the score, come at me." Watching Dylan defend Mia so fiercely, I stumbled back, my face pale. "Why? Dylan, what did I ever do to you? You know how much I love you, yet you cheated on me with my sister. Why are you doing this to me?" I shouted, my eyes red with tears. Dylan's face finally showed a hint of apology, but his words cut like a knife. "I never liked you. I've always loved Mia, but you and I had an arranged childhood engagement. My grandma and mom adored you, and they only wanted you to marry into the Gu family. I had no choice." I laughed bitterly, holding back tears. "So you married me not because you loved me, but out of desperation, and to make it easier to hook up with Mia, right?" Dylan stayed silent, while Mia leaned into his arms, looking triumphant. I felt like a complete fool, unbearable to look at their disgusting faces any longer. I threw the basin at them and ran out the door. Once I reached the street, my suppressed emotions erupted. I squatted on the sidewalk and sobbed uncontrollably. I thought Dylan would chase after me, but I cried for ages without seeing him. Anger, disappointment, and heartbreak overwhelmed me, making it hard to breathe. In the end, I went to a downtown LA bar, determined to get drunk. I lost count of how many drinks I had. By the end, I was completely blacked out. When I regained consciousness the next morning, I was lying in a strange bedroom, my body sore all over. A strong hand was wrapped around my waist, and I was leaning against a broad, warm chest. The sight left my mind blank for a moment. It took me a while to recall what had happened the night before. I remembered Dylan cheating on me with Mia, then me getting drunk at the bar. In my haze, I'd seen Dylan's uncle, Ethan Gu. For a ridiculous second, a thought crossed my mind: sleep with Ethan, become Dylan's aunt, and get revenge on him. Whether it was the alcohol or the desire for revenge, I mustered up the courage to stumble toward him. I didn't care if anyone was watching. I threw myself at him, clinging to him like a sloth. That's where my memory cut off. I had no idea what I'd said or done afterward, but the cold hard truth in front of me told me I'd actually slept with Ethan. Oh my god. I'd been so bold the night before, but now I was terrified. At that moment, I just wanted to crawl into a hole. Fighting through the discomfort, I turned to look at the man still asleep, quietly got dressed, and was about to sneak away when a deep, melodious voice stopped me from behind. "Slept with me and now you want to run, huh?" Before I could respond, my arm was grabbed, and I was roughly pulled back onto the bed. Ethan hovered above me, his hands on either side side of my head. His intense gaze made my scalp tingle. I forced a smile, feeling awkward. Uncle Ethan, I was drunk last night. You don't want to take responsibility. Ethan cut me off before I could finish. I'd been about to nod, but as the words reached my lips, Dylan and Mia's faces flashed in my mind. I gritted my teeth and blurted out, "That's not what I mean. You know, Dylan and I just got married a month ago. I'd loved Dylan since we were kids. The Lynn and Gu families were business partners, so we'd had an arranged childhood engagement. Originally, both families wanted us to marry when I turned 18, but Dylan insisted on waiting until I graduated from college. That's why we'd only gotten our marriage license a month earlier. Even though we were married, Dylan had never touched me. We were both new to our jobs, always swamped with work. Either he slept at the office, or I was on a business trip. Even when we were home, we'd collapse into bed exhausted. I'd never thought much of it until yesterday, when I realized Dylan avoided me not because our schedules clashed, but because he never liked me at all. If I wanted to be with Ethan, I had to divorce Dylan, and I was more than happy to. After all, even if we divorced, the Gu family would never accept Mia as Dylan's wife. Once I married Ethan, I'd be Dylan's legal aunt. Just having that title would make him and Mia sick, even if I did nothing else. With that thought, I made up my mind. Seeing Ethan frown in silence, I spoke up. "Well, if you don't mind, I'll go get my birth certificate from my dad's place and file for divorce from Dylan right away." As soon as I finished speaking, Ethan got up and started getting dressed without hesitation, saying casually, "Let's go. I'll drive you." I was stunned by how easily he agreed. My mind was a mess. I didn't snap out of it until I got in his car. On the drive, Ethan noticed me zoning out, fastened my seatbelt for me, and took my phone. "Call me once the divorce is final, and we'll stop by the county clerk's office to get married." My already muddled brain went blank. It wasn't until I got out of the car that I suddenly remembered what I'd forgotten. I walked into my dad's house. Thinking about it, the living room was empty, so I went upstairs. As I passed Mia's bedroom door, I noticed it was ajar. I slowed down instinctively, thinking Mia had brought Dylan home, but when I pressed my ear to the crack, I heard Mia's voice. "Mom, Lila found out about me and Dylan last night. Do you think she'll tell Dad?" A second later, I heard her mother Linda's voice. "What's there to be afraid of? If your dad asks, say Dylan seduced you. Shift all the blame to him. You don't even like him anyway." Frowning, I pulled out my phone, planning to record their conversation. Mia's annoyed voice followed. "Mom, you know I've always loved stealing Lila's things. Anything she likes, I have to take it. Men are no exception. I just never thought the Gu family would only accept Lila. Otherwise, I'd be Dylan's wife. Even if Lila finds out about the cheating, she won't divorce him easily. She'd never let Mia and me win that easily." Hearing Mia complain, Linda comforted her. "Sweetie, just wait. Once I get my hands on the Lynn family's assets and get rid of that old fool Marcus, I'll find a way to kick Lila out. You'll be the only young lady of the Lynn family. Then the Gu family will never accept her as Dylan's wife, and Dylan will be all yours." Hearing Linda call my dad an old fool and talk about killing him, surprise flashed in my eyes. Confusion aside, anger dominated my thoughts. Then I heard Mia say, "Do we really have to kill Dad? He's not my biological father, but he raised me for 20 years. Linda's voice came immediately. "He has to die. If he doesn't, what about your real father? I never would have left him to hook up with Marcus if it weren't for giving you a wealthy life. Your real dad's still waiting for us to be a family. Only when Marcus is dead can I be with your dad and legally take over everything the Lynn family has." Hearing this shocking plot, my mind reeled. All emotions faded, leaving only coldness. I was grateful I'd come back when I did. Otherwise, how would I have caught Mia and her mother red-handed? Looking at the recording on my phone, I smiled coldly. I didn't disturb them. Quietly went to my dad's room, took my birth certificate from the drawer, and left. When I walked out, Ethan was already gone. I didn't go back to Dylan's house. I went straight to the Gu family's ancestral home in Pasadena. I made up an excuse to get Dylan's birth certificate from his mother, Claire. After leaving the Gu house, I called Dylan, telling him to meet me at the Los Angeles County Clerk's office in an hour. I also called Ethan, asking him to meet me there. An hour later, I saw Dylan standing outside the clerk's office. As soon as he saw me, he asked, "You want to divorce me?" I raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that what you wanted?" Dylan seemed confused by my attitude. "I thought you'd tell both families about the cheating and refuse to divorce me no matter what." Dylan had been prepared to throw caution to the wind after getting caught. I laughed coldly, ignoring him as I walked straight into the building. When we walked out again, I saw Ethan's car. That's when I said to Dylan, "Of course I'll tell both families about your cheating. Do you think I divorced you to let you and Mia be together? Don't dream of it. I just want you to see, only I can marry into the Gu family. Mia marrying you, that's a pipe dream." I sneered. "If your family really accepted Mia, would you have married me? Don't think you can beg for forgiveness and make them them give in. I'll make you see what a terrible mistake you've made. Dylan frowned. So what if my family doesn't agree? I'll just leave the Gu family. I can support Mia and myself on my own. Hearing that, I chuckled, not missing a chance to mock him. Really? I'd like to see how long your backbone lasts, and how long Mia will stay with you once you lose the Gu family's backing. Knowing he couldn't win the argument, Dylan huffed and turned to leave. Wait. I stopped him, pointing to the birth certificate in his hand. Leave your birth certificate. I'll return it to your mom later. Dylan was an idiot. He didn't think twice, throwing the birth certificate and divorce papers at me before storming off. Once he was gone, I saw Ethan wasn't getting out of the car. I had to knock on his window. Uncle Ethan, if you don't come out, I'm not getting married. As soon as I finished speaking, Ethan opened the door, stepping out with his long legs. For some reason, even though Ethan was only a few years older than me and I'd only met him a handful of times, I always felt like a mouse facing a cat whenever I saw him. It wasn't just me. Dylan was scared of his uncle too. Maybe it was because Ethan had been in the military. He had an aura of authority that ordinary people didn't. Seeing me standing still, Ethan took my hand and pulled me into the clerk's office without a word. During the marriage registration, I couldn't help but notice the staff looking at me strangely. I didn't blame them. How many people get divorced and remarried to someone else on the same day? Walking out with the brand new marriage certificate in my hand, I still couldn't believe it. I'd really rushed into marrying Ethan. That's when I suddenly remembered what I'd forgotten earlier. I pulled the man beside me to a stop, looking up at him. Uncle Ethan, why are you marrying me? Just because we slept together? And were you drunk that night too? Otherwise, why would you sleep with me? Ethan had known about my engagement to Dylan. He'd even attended our wedding. How could he sleep with me, his nephew's wife, unless he was drunk? Besides, we were both adults. There was no need to force a girl to take responsibility and marry her just because we'd slept together. The more I thought about it, the more I regretted my impulsiveness. Then Ethan suddenly smiled, evading the question. Aren't these questions a bit late now that we're married? I was left speechless, feeling like I'd accidentally boarded a pirate ship. But Ethan was too intimidating. I didn't dare complain, so I'd just have to go along with it. Seeing me stay silent, Ethan smiled, looking amused. What do you want to do now? Marrying Ethan was a done deal. I didn't care about his motives. I had more important things to handle. Naturally, go home with you to meet your family. I'll call my dad to come over too. Seemingly looking forward to what I had planned, Ethan's eyes lit up with interest. He didn't ask any questions, simply notifying his family that we'd be coming to the Gu house soon. On the way, I called my dad, telling him I had something important to say and asking him to wait for me at the Gu house. After hanging up, I looked at the man driving, hesitating for a moment before asking unwillingly, Uncle Ethan, are you really not going to answer my earlier questions? Ethan gave me a meaningful look, saying calmly, you'll find out later. Annoyed, I pouted and turned my head, ignoring him. Through the car window, I saw Ethan smile. I was foolishly distracted by that smile. I'd always known Ethan was handsome, more handsome and masculine than Dylan, but I'd never paid much attention to him before. Intimidated by his aura and focused on my love for Dylan. At that moment, I realized how beautiful his smile was. I was a total sucker for good looks. I'd never been able to resist attractive people. For the first time, I wondered why I'd loved Dylan instead of Ethan. Was it just because Dylan had saved me when we were kids? Thinking about that incident, I thought of Mia when I was 6. Mia, who was 2 years younger than me, had come to my house with her mother Linda, claiming Mia was my dad's daughter. The news had devastated my mom, who'd fallen seriously ill and eventually died of depression. After my mom passed away, my dad had felt guilty leaving Linda and Mia homeless, so he'd let them move into the Lin family. They'd put on a fake front in front of my dad, but showed their true colors when he was gone. I tried to tell my dad the truth countless times, but he'd never believed me. Over time, our father-daughter bond had grown distant. When I was 8, I'd visited the Gu family for the first time. Mia had pushed me into the swimming pool when no one was looking. Dylan had saved me, and I'd clung to him ever since. I'd never thought Mia would steal even the person I loved, and I'd never imagined she and her mother were this evil. They must be celebrating now, but their joy wouldn't last long. We arrived at the Gu house just in time for lunch. Knowing Ethan and I were coming, along with my dad, the Gu family had prepared a big meal. I didn't want to ruin their mood, so I waited until after dinner. When everyone moved to the living room, before speaking seriously, I have 3 things to tell you. Marcus looked at me curiously. Sweetheart, why did you insist on calling me to the Gu house to say these 3 things? Dylan's parents, grandparents, parents, and even Ethan all looked at me with interest. I took a deep breath and dropped the bombshell. First, Dylan cheated on me. His partner is my sister Mia. I caught them in the act. So Dylan and I got divorced. What? Everyone except Ethan looked shocked. Before they could say anything, I continued. You all know how much I love Dylan. So after finding out about him and Mia, I went to a bar to get drunk. I got so wasted that I slept with Uncle Ethan. He insisted I take responsibility. So right after divorcing Dylan, I married him. The 5 people in the living room looked like they'd been hit by a truck. Their faces a mix of shock and confusion. They stayed silent for a long time. Taking the opportunity, I pulled out my phone, opened the recording, and said, as for the third thing, listen to this. The recording was only 2 or 3 minutes long. When it ended, everyone except me stared at my dad in shock. Marcus looked devastated, muttering, how could this be? Claire frowned, looking at me hesitantly. Lila, did you really get married to Ethan? I knew Claire would struggle to accept her daughter-in-law becoming her brother-in-law's wife, but I nodded anyway. Dylan's father stayed silent, frowning, while Grandpa Goose spoke first. That boy Dylan has lost his mind, doing something so stupid. He didn't cherish you, so divorcing him was for the best. But you and Ethan, this is too hasty. You should have told us first. Grandma Goo looked angry. That foolish boy Dylan is going to drive us to an early grave. Lila marrying Ethan is a good thing. It'll teach Dylan a lesson, making him call his ex-wife aunt. She turned to Marcus, who was still reeling. Son-in-law, I hate to say this, but even if Mia were your biological daughter, we'd never let her marry into the Goo family. We don't accept homewreckers who destroy other people's relationships. Dylan's father nodded. My son wronged you. Lila, we'll make it right. As for you and Ethan, since it's already done, there's no use complaining. Marcus, you need to handle your family's mess too. Before my dad could respond, Claire pulled out her phone, planning to call Dylan. I'm calling that boy right now. I'm so angry I could scream. What a disaster. Seeing Marcus looking dejected, I frowned. Dad, you should be grateful I found out the truth in time. I told you countless times that Linda and Mia are bad people, but you never listened. Now you have to believe me. Instead of moping around, you need to kick them out of the house immediately. I'll go back with you later. I hope you won't be soft-hearted. After a long while, Marcus sighed. Dad knows what to do. Don't worry, these years, I've been blind and foolish, making you suffer. I shook my head, saying nothing. It wasn't long before Dylan arrived. He'd been prepared when he saw me, so he knelt in front of his parents as soon as he entered the living room, his head down. Mom, Dad, I want to be with Mia. Dylan's father kicked him angrily. You did something wrong and don't even apologize first. Instead, you have the nerve to say you want to be with a homewrecker who destroys other people's relationships. Mia isn't a homewrecker, Dylan retorted. Mia and I truly love each other. You and Grandpa forced me into an engagement with Lila against my will. I told you I had someone I loved, but no one listened. You only accepted Lila. I had no choice but to do this. Before anyone else could speak, Ethan spoke up first. Watch your tone. The Lila you're talking about is now my wife. You need to call her Aunt Lila. What? Dylan looked at Ethan in disbelief, then at me, his voice trembling. Lila, you're with my uncle. Did you get married? To add to his shock, I nodded. Yes, right after I divorced you, I married him. Dylan looked stunned. You did this on purpose, didn't you? How could you marry my uncle? You're only doing this to get revenge on me, aren't you? Yes, I did it on purpose. I am getting revenge on you. I admitted it directly. Looking at Dylan, hearing my confession, Dylan turned to Ethan and the others. Uncle, you heard her. Lila is only with you to use you. You know about her and me. Why would you marry her? I'm your nephew. You should be helping me, not her. Everyone looked at Ethan, including me, curious about his response. But Ethan pulled me into his arms, resting his chin on my shoulder, his voice clear. I'm willing to be used by her. She's the person I love, so of course I'll help her. As for you, you hurt her, lied to her, and made her sad. I'm being generous not to beat you up. You think I'd side with you? Ethan's words took everyone by surprise, even me. This man loved me. How was that possible? Dylan's father turned to him. We'll set aside Ethan and Lila for now. Let's talk about you. I'll make it clear. We'll never let Mia enter the Goo family. If you insist on being with her, you're no longer my son. Then you can be with whoever you want. Knowing Dylan was stubborn, Claire picked up my phone from the table and played the recording for him. Son, listen to this. Mia isn't a good girl. We're only looking out for you by not letting you be with her. Stunned by the recording, Dylan froze for a long time before looking at me in disbelief. You had this recording all along. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I pushed down my thoughts, raising an eyebrow. Why would I tell you? You wronged me. I'm enjoying getting revenge. Didn't you say you'd be with Mia even if you left the Goo family? Go ahead. I won't stop you. Before he could respond, I walked out with my dad, seeing Ethan following behind. I frowned, about to tell him to go back, but he said, "Don't you want Mia to see me? She'll be even more devastated when she finds out I'm here." Tempted by his words, I let him come along as free labor, driving my dad and me back home. When we arrived, Mia was in the living room painting her nails. She was about to mock me when she noticed the man behind me, immediately asking, "Uncle Ethan, why are you here? Did you come to see me?" Disgusted by her expression, I sneered, "Are you that narcissistic? He's my man now." "My man? What are you talking about?" Mia couldn't believe it. I pulled Ethan to sit on the sofa, speaking slowly. "Dylan and I got divorced. You wanted to be with him, right? Go ahead. But do you think you can marry into the Gu family? Even if you do, you'll have to call me Aunt Lila. Mia was furious, turning to Ethan. "Uncle Ethan, don't you know about her and Dylan? How could you be with her? She's using you. A woman like her doesn't deserve you." Ethan raised an eyebrow, smiling. "Why? Do you think you deserve me?" Entranced by his smile, Mia blurted out, "Of course I do." This woman was truly shameless, fighting back my nausea. I sneered, "You said you loved Dylan. You even slept with him. How dare you say you deserve Ethan?" Mia glared at me. "Who said I loved Dylan? We're just friends. Stop lying." As soon as she finished speaking, she was slapped hard. Dylan's disappointed voice followed. "Mia, you're shameless. I argued with my family, ran out to be with you, and this is how you treat me." Seeing Dylan appear, Mia froze, lost for words. At that moment, Linda heard the commotion and came downstairs. She was about to say something when Marcus suddenly spoke up. "Since both of you are here, pack your things and get out of this house immediately." "What?" Linda and Mia shouted in unison. Mia looked at him in disbelief. "Why, Dad? Did Mia and I do something wrong?" Linda put on a pitiful, innocent expression, looking at Marcus sorrowfully. "Honey, what's wrong with you? Did someone say bad things about Mia and me?" Seeing Linda glance at me as she spoke, I laughed coldly, ignoring her. Then my dad said, "You know exactly what you've done. If you have any shame, you'll leave quietly. I'll file for divorce from now on. The Lin family has nothing to do with you too." When Linda and Mia refused to leave, crying and making a scene, I pulled out my phone and played the recording, losing my patience. "You really are mother and daughter. Now that the evidence is right here, what else do you have to say?" I called the housekeeper. "Pack their things. Throw out everything that belongs to them." "Lila." Mia glared at me fiercely, rushing over to hit me, but Ethan grabbed her wrist, twisting it gently, dislocating her arm with a soft crack. "Ah!" Mia screamed in pain, collapsing to the floor. Seeing Linda rush over like a shrew, Marcus finally lost his patience. He stopped her and slapped her hard. "Have you two made enough trouble? If you don't get out, I'll call the police." In the end, Linda and Mia were kicked out of the Lin family in embarrassment. Dylan, seemingly traumatized, got into a car accident after leaving. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously injured. He just needed to stay in the hospital for a few days. Even though Mia was kicked out, I knew her punishment wasn't over. I'd secretly investigated her biological father. Over the years, he'd married and had kids in his hometown, but he was lazy and had wasted all his money. That's why he'd turned to Linda. Once he found out Linda and Mia had been kicked out of the Lin family and were penniless, endless suffering would await them. With Mia and Dylan out of the way, it was time to deal with my relationship with Ethan. He took me back to his place, sitting on the sofa. I asked him, "Ethan, don't you owe me an explanation?" Ethan seemed to be thinking carefully. After a while, he said, "I first met you when I was 16. You were playing with ants by the swimming pool. So focused you didn't notice someone behind you. You fell in, and I pulled you out. I'd already convinced my parents to let me join the military. I was on my way to report that day. After saving you, I called an ambulance, told Dylan to watch over you, and left." His words stunned me. I'd never imagined he'd been the one who saved me. Then he continued, "I was in the military for 5 years. When I came back, I found out you and Dylan had an arranged engagement. The second time I saw you was on your 18th birthday. Dylan refused to marry you, and I saw you crying secretly in a corner. What happened next?" I asked, wanting to know when he'd fallen in love with me. Ethan smiled softly. "Every time I saw you after that, you were chasing after Dylan. You'd pretend to be happy even when he ignored you, forcing yourself to be strong. I always thought you were too good for that." He walked over, gently cupping my face, his words unintentionally romantic. "I don't know when I fell in love with you, but I always thought, if Dylan couldn't make you happy, I'd steal you away from him. So when you got drunk that night, I took my chance and made you take responsibility." Ethan kissed my eyes, my nose, and finally pressed a tender kiss to my lips. "In my world, there's only till death do us part, no divorce. So even if you regret it, it's too late. Who said I regret it? I wrapped my arms around his neck, smiling up at him. Since you're so sincere, I'll reluctantly give you a chance. Ethan laughed, leaning down to kiss me again. After all the twists and turns, some fates are truly meant to be. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.